Now, if you've been playing Warframe for anything more than the past 5 years, you will know that Exodia Contagion plus Eclipse is one of the strongest things in the game. However, the old meta was to put it on Wisp so that you could use her Breach Surge at the same time to spread that damage. What if I told you that wasn't necessary? With the introduction of melee influence, along with a couple of other changes, a lot of Warframes have actually become very usable because you can just slap on melee influence with anything, say an exalted weapon, X-Cow, and just crowd nuke. Now what's funny is along with the addition of melee influence as well as the change to exalted weapons, many Warframes actually got quite bugged. What I mean by that is, as a perfect example, Excalibur, certain things that are supposed to be a additive damage to your base number instead becomes a multiplicative to your base number. To put it more clearly, we are at 2879. Now imagine instead of simply having an additive where it's this number times 2, it is instead this number multiplied by itself. And then you can add all these extra other buffs that for some reason can also count as a multiplicative, unlike melee influence. But the build I'm going to be showing you today showcases the fact that Mirage's Hall of Mirrors is affected by said bug. She gets an odd couple multiplicative stacks of damage from just using her clones. So this is the build. First and foremost, we're going to be using Wrathful Advance because Wrathful Advance is stupid. Who doesn't like red crits for free? Now because we have 3 different buffs here all stacking on your strength and your duration, we're going to be building for efficiency and range. I'm so funny. Obviously everything here is up to you whether you switch them out or keep them on. Vigorous swap because if you didn't know, when using a primer, which is what we will be having, aiming down sights mid-air obviously holds out your gun. Pressing your melee attack while mid-air and aiming will launch your Exodia Contagion, and it does count for Vigorous Swap, which is just a free damage bonus. Multi-augmented to stack your strength so that in the higher levels, once you hit 250 kills, you will get an extra 60% strength, and Arcane Fury because that counts towards our melee damage for Exodia Contagion. Archon Shards again are also optional. I'm using 2 violets for melee crit damage when my energies are 500, and with Prime Flow we have 641. A yellow for effectiveness on energy orbs, however you could opt out for cast speed if you don't find your energy to be an issue. And I've got 1 crim for duration, and another for strength. Would like these to be Tau Forge, but DE hates me. Now there are actually 2 Zaw builds that you can use. The first one that I'm going to show you is not the same one I used in the intro. However, it is still extremely ridiculously stupidly fucking strong. This is your typical Zawfluence build. Now if you didn't have a Riven for Rob V, it is actually more acceptable to use the Docrum, and you basically just want as much status chance as possible. These are the parts. Obviously you would just switch this out for the Docrum, get this combo, and you would have 10 crit chance and 32 status chance. Zawfluence needs no introduction. Influence doesn't need an introduction, but if you wanted to just see what it could do, I have no multi-augmented stacks. Now the second build that you could use is of course just a straight pure crit build with melee duplicate. This one is focused more on your crit chance and your crit damage, and it does allow you to hit those stupid big numbers that you saw in the intro clips. There's your 68 mil. Hop back a little farther, prime him up a little bit for condition overload, 473 mil. And of course that number will only grow the more you build up your multi-augmented, which is ridiculous. For pets, I don't really think it matters. I'm using my typical Sister Hound build. You can use your Nautilus with the Verglass. That is literally the whole build. This fucking shit is insane. I don't know what the hell happened with DE math, but amongst other Warframes, this one right now is incredibly bugged, incredibly strong, with a Zaw. Here's the fashion, in case you wanted to see it. Goodbye.